Hello guys, those of you who attentively follow the updates of the Russian war in Ukraine might have noticed that with each month there are more and more news coming from inside the Russian Federation. And that's because the front lines are growing inside Russia. Dozens of their regions are an active war zone. The European part of the Russian Federation is a no-fly zone. Lots of their important strategic objects are already demilitarized and the Russian economy is collapsing. So millions of Russians who cheered for the so-called special military operation now have a lot of questions to the Kremlin. And some experts outside Russia, including the Institute for the Study of War, think that Putin can actually begin another war somewhere else to demonstrate that he's too busy or maybe to get a faster victory with a smaller country. We observe a growing number of the green men on the borders between Russia and Estonia. And rumors say that the Baltics is another region that the Kremlin may try to invade and, of course, fail. As a Ukrainian, I remember how before the start of the full-scale invasion, it all seemed totally impossible and mad, but let's remember that Putin is mad himself. The good news is that Ukraine is now prepared to defend not just ourselves. We have an important experience and we are doing a really good job in defeating and demilitarizing this Russian monster with Ukrainian long-range drones. And the Kremlin is now very much afraid of the Tomahawk missiles that can actually arrive to Ukraine if Trump allows that. And as I record this video, the SMOLENSK aviation plant is on fire, which is a good sign both for people in Ukraine and for people all over the world. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia, that's the only way to end this war and to bring peace and to protect a lot of countries around the world, subscribe and please share these videos to spread the truth and maybe to relax some of your friends who are super worried about Putin attacking a NATO country. Let me know in the comments below, do you think it is possible? Because with each day I read more and more reports saying that Putin may try to get this fast victory with the countries that the Kremlin describes lack strategic depth. But I know that these countries are well prepared. I'm not sure about the unity of all NATO members, but I'm sure about Ukraine and our readiness to share experience, to share armed forces, and to stand against Russia on 2, 3, 5 front lines. That's exactly what we are doing for more than 10 years already here. There are rumors and there are videos and photos about groups of green men, armed men on the borders between Estonia and Russia, and my condolences to all the good nations that have border with Russia. Trust me, those who border Russia do not need any explanations about why we need to defeat the Kremlin, and the faster the better. So according to the Estonian media, these are not ordinary guards of the border, but some other military men without specific recognition signs, and that resembles the green men that invaded Crimea back in 2014. I'm sure our mistake and the advice of our friends around the world not to escalate taught a good lesson to other nations, and that's why it's super important to stop Russia whenever it tests your borders, your political and military decisions. And that is exactly what they do. Even if we think that it's not very likely that Putin has enough money and enough people to attack any other country, we have to understand that Russia already has this hybrid war with lots of EU and, I think, American countries. It is espionage, it has always been like that, it's sabotage. A lot of problems that you have inside your countries, political, social, cultural and religious, are often inspired by the Russian money. And also drones, about the military, various military sites in many countries, in Denmark, in Germany, in Poland, drones in Poland, aircraft in Estonia. So these are tests. Let's be realistic. And when I was reading comments and reactions of people about these green men on the borders of Estonia, from the Russian side, many were actually speaking about the Kremlin testing NATO, testing the Baltics, testing people's opinion. And the more drones will cross your borders without the proper reaction, the more soldiers or weird green men will amass on your borders without any proper reaction, the more likely the invasion can become. Because they see that like no one is prepared to fight, no one is prepared to react, and then they continue. Once again, the Ukrainian example, all those Minsk agreements, all those Normandy talks, all these small sanctions in the reaction to the annexation of Crimea, occupation of Donetsk and Luhansk regions, were treated by Putin as a green light to continue, and that's why we have the full-scale invasion in 2022. It's a great surprise that we turned out to be a way stronger, more united nation, that Putin had really bad intelligence and he overestimated both the capacity of the Russian budget and the Russian army, and now he is a total failure. And he understands that because even for his birthday, Russians online, share these achievements of Putin as a CIA agent. And no, that's not a sleep. They speak about Putin destroying the Russian Federation before he can destroy any other nation. And to know more, to watch my new video on Anna Danilchuk channel that already has 100,000 views. So I don't know why, but the views are super good on that channel. Do subscribe to get the weekly updates and build our conversation there. Subscribe, share the videos, and help others understand their reality better. And the reality is that Russia keeps failing inside. And now, as I record this video, SMOLENSK Aviation plant is on fire. It's a huge, important military facility where they produced aircraft and missile systems, including cruise missile systems. And any news about the destruction of arsenals, of plants that, create such instruments of war is always good news, because this means lots of innocent lives saved in Ukraine and maybe in many other countries. The faster we defeat the evil, the better it is for our planet. Donetsk was seriously demilitarized last night. That is the temporarily occupied territory of Ukraine. A military facility was targeted, and just a day before, 5 tanks and a Grad system were also demilitarized on the territory of Donetsk region. Because what were they doing on the territory of Donetsk region? By the way, we rarely speak about this occupied by Russia regions back in 2014, but life there is extremely bad, very awful. And by the way, that's one of the reasons why some people who were neutral towards Russia, who believed in the idea of the Ruski Mir, now fight fiercely against joining that Ruski Mir, because they witnessed what it brings to the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine, and another inspiration for us to liberate people and Ukrainian homes. That's why we need your support. Of course, we're working on the Ukrainian weapons. Flamingo and Neptune missiles already destroy military locations inside the Russian Federation, but with Tomahawks, it could be way better. And we clearly see that the reaction of the Kremlin is desperate, is pathetic. They keep talking about this Tomahawk. So if I were Trump, if I were any strong political leader, I would give them just to, dissatisfied, disappoint Putin, and to see that whining coming out of the Kremlin is precious. They are super afraid because with Ukrainian-made weapons, with our long-range drones, we already reach 2,000 kilometers deep inside the Russian Federation, like Tumen that I reported to you recently. This totally destroys the Russian strategy. During the First World War, during the Second World War, during various conflicts, they were relocating important military facilities deep inside the Russian area, knowing that no weapon can reach them. But with long-range drones, with the operations like Spiderweb, and remember to like this video for just one mention of the Spiderweb, they lose this protection. The vast territory of the Russian Federation now plays against them. They don't have enough air defense system. They don't know how to defend themselves. They were only prepared for attacking others, not for defending themselves. So they are losing with the Ukrainian long-range drones working, our missiles. Imagine how they would feel if we could use Tomahawks. And Russian military vloggers are talking about that. That's another very interesting area of the conversations that I keep on Anna Danilchuk channel. These speeches of very disappointed Russian vloggers who supported this war, who believed in the invincibility of the Russian army and now feel very humiliated. So they are talking about Tomahawks that can reach 3,000 kilometers deep inside the Russian rear, literally to Omsk and other strategic for the Russian military production cities, and they are desperate because they believe this will happen. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think is coming first? Tomahawks to Ukraine or Putin attacking a NATO country? Please be careful, choose only kind words because YouTube is too sensitive for these harsh realities. And we need to stay united. Follow me on other social media like X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord. All the links in the description of this video, same as the link to our merch shop with lots of good items like hoodies and sweatshirts, which will turn you into a beautiful ambassador of Ukraine and a stylish person in autumn. They work well as reminders and conversation starters, and they can even be used to celebrate different occasions. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for being friends of mine and friends of Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!